Hi, so today's grammar lesson is going to be the use of a 2AD sentence structure. Now, this is taken from Alan Peat's 25 Ways to Improve Your Sentences, and I'll put a link in to the whole booklet. But this is one of the first ones, and it's 2AD. And it means that there's two lots of adjectives before the nouns. Two lots of nouns, two lots of adjectives, and it's a particular sentence structure. And I'm going to work through how the grammatical structure works, and then we'll look at how we apply this to our writing. So, this is the example sheet for 2AD, which also contains the rules. Before you begin, you must be able to recognise adjectives and nouns. In fact, nouns is most important. So the pre-learning to this is that you can identify nouns and that you understand that adjectives describe nouns. Because the rule to the 2AD sentence is that in the sentence there are two adjectives before the first noun and two adjectives before the second noun. Now, the first example that you will see here is Mr. Twit was a dirty, horrible man with long, soggy spaghetti in his beard. Now, I hope we're all familiar with Mr. Twit because he is exactly like that. So we introduce our character and then we tell our readers something about it. Two things about the type of man. Because you could have said Mr. Twit was a man. But we're extending this part of the sentence to say Mr. Twit was a dirty, horrible man. So our first noun is man, and we are describing him as dirty and horrible. One thing to note is that in punctuation, we need to put a comma between them because it's listing the two things that are about the man. So a dirty, horrible man requires the comma in between. We then go on. Mr. Twit was a dirty, horrible man with long, soggy spaghetti in his beard. Spaghetti being noun 2. And then we're describing the spaghetti in his beard, which is long and soggy. Okay, so we've got noun 1, 2 adjectives, noun 2, 2 adjectives. So let's have a look at the example 2. It was a sparse, dry desert with a calming, exotic oasis in the distance. So, once again, we're following our rules. 2 adjectives, divided by a comma, because they're a list of adjectives, more than one of them. Desert being our noun 1, so our noun with 2 adjectives. So what was the desert like? It was dry and sparse, and we've put it in this format. And it had a calming, exotic oasis in the distance. So oasis is our noun 2, and exotic and calming are describing what the oasis was like. Because obviously we know that we could take those out. We could say it was a desert with an oasis in the distance. But we're improving it by adding these 2 adjectives. And the purpose of this sentence is to create a clear picture for the reader. So we do it so that our reader knows exactly what we are thinking of in our minds when we're writing. So you can see in these 2 examples, the structure is really good for describing a place or describing a person, which is normally what adjectives are for, but you can use it in all different genres. So I would suggest that if you are wanting to practice this, that you think about a character and then a place of the reading book you've got. So, for example, if we were using Paddington Bear, we could think about Paddington Station, describing that using the style, and we could think about Paddington Bear and describing him. So I'm going to have a go at that and show you the example. So I've completed my 2 sentences using the 2AD sentence structure. One about Paddington and one about Paddington Station. So let's have a look at the first one. Paddington is a cute, lovable bear who wears a thick blue coat. So I've got my 2 adjectives, cute, lovable, and bear being noun 1. And then I've got thick blue, my next 2 adjectives, and noun 2 being coat. So I've followed my rules, I've used my punctuation correctly, and a capital letter and a full stop. My next one says, Paddington is named after the enormous busy station, which is located in the busy, bustling city of London. Okay, so again, I've made sure I've followed my rules. I've got 2 adjectives divided by a comma, followed by noun 1, and then I've got 2 adjectives that are marked by a comma and noun 2. For me, I would always use this in context, so do this when children are writing, particularly if there's some describing in it. And 2AD is a brilliant sentence for any descriptive writing, as you can see. And it's really easy for them to apply the rules. So just go over the rules with them, and you can use the link in the comments to go to the Alan Peat sentence types. And when you're describing, try to get them to include at least 2 2AD sentences. And this helps them work out how to vary their sentence types, and therefore their writing naturally improves. There's 25 more, there's more than 25, but in the booklet in the link there's 25. And if you could use 25 different sentence structures in your writing, then your piece of writing, by its very nature, is going to be much nicer to read, much better level, much better quality for the reader, and also demonstrates a wide range of punctuation through this. And that's another thing that Alan Peat sentence structures are great for. It is varying punctuation, because it shows them how to use the punctuation too. Hope you've enjoyed. Bye.